I want to tell you about the night everything changed for me. I didn't wake up because my son was coughing. I woke up because I heard him walking. Slow steps, bare feet on the floor, something dragging behind him. I knew that sound right away. He only walked like that when he was scared, usually after a bad dream. He came into my room and tried to say something. "Mom, I can't." But his voice didn't come out right. It wasn't a whisper. It was thin and sharp, like the air was barely getting through. I grabbed him immediately. His arms were shaking. His chest was moving too fast, like he'd been running. I could see his ribs. His lips looked pale. He was 7 years old. He had asthma. I'd seen his attacks before. I knew what they looked like. This wasn't like his other attacks. I told him, "Look at me, slow down, I'm here." But he couldn't slow down. His breathing sounded tight and uneven, like something was blocking it. The first thing I thought was fresh air. I turned toward the window next to my bed. I barely touched the latch when the hallway light turned on. My mother was standing there. My father was behind her. "What are you doing?" my mom asked. She already sounded annoyed. "He can't breathe," I said. "I need to open the window." She walked over, shut the window hard, and locked it. The sound of the lock was loud. "Final, no," she said. "You're not starting this tonight." "He has asthma," I said. She pointed at him. "He's doing it for attention. You always fall for this." My son grabbed my shirt. His breathing got faster. I felt panic start to rise in my chest. "We need to go to the hospital," I said. My dad laughed. "For what?" he said. "A little breathing problem." I reached for the window again. My mother slapped my hand away. "Don't touch it," she said. "He needs to learn." Then she said something I will never forget. "Let him fight for air." Something inside me went cold. I stopped trying to explain. I picked my son up and turned toward the door. That's when my father stepped in front of me and blocked it. That's when I realized they weren't just ignoring my son. They were stopping me from helping him. I didn't argue with them after that. I didn't explain again. I didn't raise my voice. I just picked my son up and turned toward the front door. That's when my father moved. He stepped into the doorway and stood there, filling the space. He didn't touch me. He didn't have to. "You're not leaving," he said. My son's breathing got worse. Short, fast breaths. His head dropped against my shoulder like he was too tired to hold it up. "He needs a hospital," I said. "Right now." My father shook his head. "You're not waking the neighborhood over this." My mother stood behind him with her arms crossed. "Put him down," she said. "He'll calm himself." I looked at my son. His fingers were twisted into my shirt so tight it hurt. His breathing sounded wet now, like it wasn't moving right. "He can't breathe it out," I said. "Please, move." My father leaned closer to me. I could smell coffee on his breath. "You're in my house," he said, "and you don't get to make scenes here." That's when my son's knees gave out. His body went heavy in my arms. I didn't think anymore. I pushed forward, hard. My father slammed into the wall behind him and started yelling, something about respect, something about how I was out of control. My mother shouted my name like she was warning me. I didn't stop. I ran, down the porch steps. Barefoot, the ground was freezing, but I didn't feel it. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my keys once before I got the car door open. I laid my son in the back seat and fumbled with the seatbelt. I couldn't get it straight. My fingers wouldn't work. "Stay with me," I kept saying. "Just stay with me." Behind me, my parents came out onto the porch. "You're embarrassing yourself," my mother called. "Don't come back asking us to pay for this," my father shouted. I slammed the door shut. The car didn't start right away. It coughed once. Then again. I remember thinking, please. Then it started. I drove straight to the hospital. Every red light felt like it was taking something from him. I didn't look in the mirror because I was afraid of what I might see. When I pulled up to the emergency entrance, I didn't park. I just stopped the car and ran inside yelling for help. A nurse took one look at my son and didn't ask any questions. "Respiratory," she called out. A doctor was there almost immediately. Oxygen mask, monitors, hands moving fast and calm. The sound of air filling his lungs was the first time I felt like I could breathe. The doctor turned to me and asked, "When did this start?" "About 20 minutes ago," I said. "And what did you do when it got worse?" I hesitated. "I tried to open a window," I said, "but my parents locked it." The doctor stopped moving. He didn't say anything. He just looked at my son, then he looked back at me. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just a medical emergency anymore. I thought the worst thing that night was almost losing my son. I didn't yet understand what that silence from the doctor actually meant. After that, things got quieter. Not calm, not safe, just controlled. My son was breathing through the oxygen mask. Not normal yet, but steady enough that his chest wasn't fighting so hard. I stood next to the bed and didn't move much. I felt like if I relaxed, I would fall apart. The doctor came back and asked, "Has he had attacks like this before?" I said. "He's had asthma attacks, yes, but not like this." He nodded and started typing into the computer. I remember hearing the keys. It sounds stupid, but that sound stayed with me because it felt like everything was becoming official. Then he asked me, "Who lives with you?" I said, "Me and my son." "And where are you staying right now?" he asked. I hesitated, then said, "At my parents' house, temporarily." I didn't even mean to emphasize that word, but I did. Temporarily, like I was reminding myself. The nurse came in to adjust the IV and check the monitor. She looked at my son, then looked at me, and I could tell she was choosing her words. She said, "I'm going to ask our social worker to come speak with you." My stomach dropped. I said it fast without thinking. "I didn't do anything wrong." She shook her head right away. "I know," she said. "This is standard." Standard. That word scared me more than the machines did. Because if it was standard, it meant this wasn't rare. The social worker came in a little later. She was calm. Not cold, not overly warm, just professional. She sat down with a clipboard and asked me simple questions. What time did it start? Who was in the house? Did anyone stop you from getting care? I answered the best I could. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't add drama. I just said what happened in the order it happened. And she wrote it down. When I repeated my mother's words, "Let him fight for air," the social worker paused for a second. Her pen stopped. Then she kept writing. After she left, my phone started buzzing again. I didn't even want to look, but I did. "My mom, where are you?" "My dad, you made us look crazy." "My sister, Mom says you're overreacting." "Come back," I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my notes app. I wrote down the time my son woke up, the time my mom locked the window, the time my dad blocked the door, the exact words they used. No feelings, just facts. Later, the doctor returned and said, "We're keeping him for observation." I finally felt a little relief. Then he added, "There are certain things we have to document." I nodded. "Okay." And sitting there beside my son, watching him breathe, I made a decision that felt simple. We were not going back there. I thought leaving was going to be the hardest part, but I didn't realize what happens after the hospital writes everything down, or who gets notified next. I didn't go back to my parents' house that night. After the doctor said my son would stay for observation, I asked if there was somewhere else we could go afterward. I didn't explain much. I just said we needed space. A nurse helped me find a small motel not far from the hospital. Nothing special. One bed, thin walls, but it was quiet. Safe. That night, my son slept beside me. He kept one hand on my arm, like he needed to know I was still there. Every time he shifted, I woke up. In the morning, my phone was full of missed calls. I didn't listen to the voicemails. I didn't have the energy for their voices yet. Later that day, someone from the hospital asked me to come back in to talk. They didn't say why, just that it was important. I sat in a small office with a woman I hadn't met before. She introduced herself, then asked me to confirm some information. My address. My parents' address, where my son would be staying once he was discharged. I told her the truth. I said we wouldn't be going back. She nodded and wrote it down. Then she said, "Because of what was reported, there are a few follow-ups we're required to make." There was that word again, required. She didn't explain what the follow-ups were. She didn't threaten anything. She just told me what would happen next, like she was reading from a checklist. There would be phone calls. There would be documentation shared. There might be a home visit. I didn't ask questions. I already knew enough. That afternoon, my parents finally reached me. My mother texted, the hospital called us. "What did you say?" I stared at that message for a long time before replying. I typed, "I told the truth." That was it. After that, things started happening without me doing anything. My parents stopped demanding I come back. Their messages changed. Shorter, careful, like they were thinking before they spoke. My sister called and asked questions she'd never asked before. What exactly did you tell them? Did you say Dad blocked the door? Did you say Mom locked the window? I didn't answer her either. When my son was discharged, a social worker met with me again. She confirmed where we were staying and gave me her card. "Call if anything changes," she said. That sentence stayed with me because things were already changing. I didn't feel relief yet. I didn't feel safe, but I felt something else. Momentum. Things had started moving, and I wasn't the one pushing them anymore. I thought this would end with paperwork and phone calls. I didn't know the next step would involve my parents finding out just how little control they still had. I thought things would stay quiet for a while. They didn't. A few days after we left the hospital, my parents showed up where we were staying. I hadn't told them the address. I still don't know how they found it. I opened the door just enough to see them. My mother looked tired in a way I'd never seen before. My father stood a step behind her, not blocking anything this time, just standing there. "We need to talk," my mom said. Her voice was careful. I didn't invite them in. My father tried to sound normal. "You've taken this too far," he said. "People are calling us, asking questions." I said, "I didn't make anyone call you." My mother sighed like she was the one being hurt. "You didn't have to say things the way you did." "I said what happened," I told her. She shook her head. "You always exaggerate." That word used to work on me. It didn't anymore. Behind me, my son was sitting on the bed, quiet, watching, breathing normally. My father noticed him and lowered his voice. "We just want him home," he said. "This isn't good for him." I looked at my son, then back at them. What wasn't good for him, I said, was being told to fight for air. My mother opened her mouth, then closed it. She tried a different approach. "If you come back," she said, "we can make this go away." That's when I understood something clearly. "This isn't something you get to make go away," I said, "and it never was." My father's face tightened. "You think you're in control now?" he asked. I didn't answer, because my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I answered it. The woman introduced herself and said she was following up on a report connected to my son's hospital visit. She asked if now was a good time to talk. I looked at my parents while she spoke. My mother went still. My father stared at the floor. "Yes," I said into the phone. "Now is fine." I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. The call was short, just confirmation, just next steps, nothing dramatic. When I went back inside, my parents were already moving away from the door. My mother didn't look angry anymore. She looked unsure. My father said, "We'll be in touch." I didn't respond. They left. I locked the door and sat down next to my son. He leaned against me and said, "Are we okay now?" I thought about it for a second. "We're safe," I said, "and we're staying that way." He nodded and rested his head on my shoulder. And sitting there, I knew something that didn't need explaining. They weren't in control anymore. Not of me, not of him, not ever again.